When it comes down to the name of Yah, I say Yah. When I'm reading, I'll catch myself slipping, and we'll get into, I'm a beginner in Hebrew, so we'll get into why I catch myself slipping. But I don't get into name debates because it's pointless, especially when it comes down to the name of Yah. Now, when it comes down to the name of Yehoshua or Yeshua, I might, have a little pushback for whoever. But when it comes down to the name of Yah, I will not entertain a debate because I don't think. Let me just leave it there. I won't entertain a debate. So, y'all just check this out real quick from one of the most famous spreaders of myth information in the world, Truth Unedited.
But the ironic thing is, his name is in the 1611 King James Bible. In Genesis chapter 22, verse 14, it reads, "And Abraham called the name of that place Yahuah Jireh. And it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen." Do you see? So they knew his name.
Okay, so you see his logic in the 1611 King James Bible. They knew the name of, as he would say, Yahuah, and they took it out. So back then they know it, but then they started taking it out or whatever. Yeah, so we're actually going to get into what that is in the 1611 King James Bible, where it appears to say Yahuah. So here, Exodus chapter 4, verse 10, we're going to focus at the on the beginning of this verse. It says in Hebrew, Vayomer Moshe El. Now, this is the Tetragrammaton. Now, if I was just to read this according to the vowels that have been supplied, I would pronounce it Yehovah. So I'm going to start again. Vayomer. I'm kind of sick. Forgive me. Vayomer Moshe El Yehovah Bi Adonai Lo Ish Devarim Anochi Gam, etc., etc. Okay. So let me tell you why these vowel markers do not pronounce Yehovah. And like most people that read the language, they know this. These are not the vowel markers to the Tetragrammaton. So actually going to do something like this real quick. I'm going to capture that. Then I'm going to pull this up so we can, dig off into this. Okay, so you see, yeah, you should be able to see that. So I'm going to get this, make sure. I'm going to make that yellow. Okay. Okay, it's a highlighter. Perfect. Okay, so here, this is a vocal shva. You got the cholam, and you got the comments. All right. These are the vowels that are supplied to this name. And that's why some people say Yahuah or Jehovah or whatever the case may be. So you got Moshe talking to Yahuah according to these vowels. All right. Now, these vowels are supplied for a certain reason. What these vowels actually are, and this is why I chose this verse, what these vowels actually are to serve as a prompt to let the reader know not to pronounce the divine name when he's standing in front of the synagogue and reading, but to pronounce Adonai instead. These are literally the vowel markers for Adonai that the Masoretes put instead of preserving the proper way to pronounce Yah's name. So again, if you was in the synagogue reading this, or if any type of Hebrew class, legitimate Hebrew class reading this, you would read Vayomer Moshe El Adonai Bi Adonai Lo Ish Devarim Anochi, etc., etc. It's because the Masoretes, they put these to prompt the reader, hey, don't pronounce the name, pronounce Adonai. So this is a indicate, like a signal to the reader, pronounce Adonai. And here we have Adonai in the actual text. Moshe speaking, please, oh my Lord, Adonai. So this is the best verse for me to demonstrate this. Now you say, okay, whatever. But check this out. Genesis chapter 15. This is something the Masoretes also did. Anytime there was double Adonai. So here you got, but Avram said, oh Lord, and then the Tetragrammaton. In the Hebrew, Vayomer Abraham, Adonai, Yehovah. What? Same name, different vowel markers. You see it here. That's not like what we was just actually. I could pull this up. Boom, perfect. It worked out great. So you see over here, it starts with the shva. Over here, you got segol, a half segol. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Look, don't take Hebrew lessons from me. Like I've always say, I'm only in my second year. But you can see, obviously, under the yod here, they have a shva. Under the yod here, they got the chetef segol. Over the hey, they got the cholam. Over the hey, they got the cholam. However, under the wa, they got the hirik. Under the wall here, they got the kametz. So why does it change? If it's the same name being pronounced, why does it change? Well, it changed because Vayomer Avraham Adonai, the Masoretes prompt the reader here to say Elohim instead of saying Adonai twice. So these are the vowel markers to prompt the reader to say Elohim. Vayomer Avraham Adonai Elohim Matitenli, etc., etc. So how did the Genesis and the 1611 King James, how did they get this? Yahuah. Well, in order to know what I just explained about the vowels for Adonai being supplied to the name of Yah, the four-letter name of Yah, I mean, you had to be in the know, you know? So if you don't know, you would think that's how it's pronounced. So back when the Bible was being translated from Hebrew into Latin, guess what the translators did? They translated oopsie. So they literally kept the vowels with the letters, with the consonants, with the tetragrammaton. They kept the vowels that the Masoretes were using for them to be a indicator to for the reader to pronounce. Let me just pull this up. So they kept these vowels as if this was the actual pronunciation of the name, not knowing that this was the indicator for the reader to pronounce Adonai. The only problem was in Latin in the medieval times when they actually did this translation, there was no W. So they did the W with I think it was VU. I don't know Latin. I just know this. They didn't have a W. So what did they do? They did it with they supplied a V or U. I think those two are the same in medieval Latin. Professor Asher can correct me if I'm wrong. Shout out to him. But when it got transliterated from Latin to English, they kept the Latin phonetics behind it. So you end up with this. This is actually a crossbreed between the actual consonants in Yah's name and the supplied vowels for Adonai. So this was a big oopsie. And then it just went downhill from there. So said all that to say, this is not the proper pronunciation of Yah's name. What it really is just a transliteration of the tetragrammaton with the vowel markers for Adonai. So it's literally a crossbreed translated into Latin, then from Latin into English, which, ta-da, a complete mispronunciation of the name of Yah. That's all I got. Y'all rock with your boy.